Okay, well, welcome everyone. My name is Brian,
I'm Rob.
and together we are the Nostalgic Dads podcast
Makes us sound so old.
because we are old. We're in our early 30s, so we are old people now. I have the body aches to understand that now.
Yes.
So today we are going to be talking about Earthworm Jim Season 1.
Yeah, a lot of people probably thinking the video game, but no, there was a show.
Yeah, it only ran for 2 seasons, sadly, but you can understand why once you get further into the show. It probably was a certain kind of humor that didn't really land.
No, it was very much we're going it's like entering that period of when cartoons started getting pretty weird and writers were just kind of throwing whatever out there and seeing what was landing.
Yeah, a lot of adult jokes that kids wouldn't really understand.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Did we want to discuss any of the cast at all?
Yes. So I didn't do enough research on the cast. Obviously, we know who plays Jim.
Yes.
Um, the great, I can never get his last name right. Dan,
Yeah, we'll just leave it Dan because I'm going to butcher his last name if I say it.
I'm a butcher it anyway. Dan Castellaneta or something.
Yeah, it was also, I actually did some research. I did not know he played Grandpa in the Hey Arnold movie from 2017.
Oh my God. Wait,
And
does he
he's,
is he grandpa for just that movie?
as far
Not
as
the
I
actual.
know, as far
Okay.
as I know, it's just that. I didn't go too far in because his IMDb is extremely long.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but of course, he's also in Futurama as Robot Devil.
Oh yeah, you're right. Got it. I love that show.
And another person we should bring up is Jeff Bennett. He played Peter Puppy. Fun fact, he was also the dad from Dexter's Laboratory.
Oh my God. Yeah. I hear Peter's voice and I didn't think much of it, but at the same time I'm kind of like it sounds slightly familiar, but
Yeah.
nothing too crazy. He,
He also played Petrie from the Land Before Time movies.
yeah, I totally hear that now.
It makes a lot of sense now.
Yes, it does. I mean, Peter's a kind of a sidekick character anyway, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
One other one I would like to mention though would definitely be he was only in one episode that we watched. He played Snot, but he's also a hench rat. It's John Kazir. He played the Crypt Keeper.
oh my God, really?
Yeah, I was
Uh,
Snot's not even that big of a vocal character. I would never guess that.
no, me neither, because I wasn't in the episodes that we watched, wasn't he just in like one of them?
Yeah, he was just in the first one,
First one, yeah. And
and
he was there for
that's
probably like less than a minute.
yeah, maybe like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Um, I don't know if you noticed one that I took notice of, but I should have looked it up. I is so Professor Monkey for a Head.
Yes.
His voice was like stood out to me because I know I had heard it before. I believe in another weird show is I think Cow and Chicken. I think he's like the
Actually,
devil.
his real name is Charlie Adler. He
Okay.
is in I Am Weasel. So pretty much the cow and chicken equivalent.
Yeah. Isn't is he the monkey, the
Yeah,
baboon?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He's also Starscream from Transformers 2011 movie. I think that's the Dark of the Moon.
Really?
And he is Ed and Bev Bighead from the new Rocco movie.
Oh my God. Yeah, I hear it, Mr. Big Head.
Yeah, he's got quite the voice talent.
It's funny when you go back in like old shows and not just cartoons, like TV shows, and you see actors like back in the day. They're just doing like these small roles, and then they go on to do like a bunch of other stuff that you didn't think would they be doing.
Yeah, there's the talent is just amazing. Give them lots of credit for
Yeah,
being able to do all that.
everyone has to start somewhere.
So, do you want to break down how we're going to do this every podcast? I don't know how often it's going to be, but try to do it at least weekly or every 2 weeks.
Yeah. So so this episode we're just doing season 1. And we've watched a couple of episodes just to get a good taste of what the show is about. And every episode of this podcast, we are either going to talk about a season of a show, or how else would you want to do it?
Well, pretty much, I think probably the easiest way we're going to do it is we'll pick probably the first season of a show, and then if we want to, we can go back and do another season. But the best way to get a grasp of the season, probably we'll do the first episode, the midway episode, and then the final episode per season.
There you go.
That way we get a grasp of how it, I don't know, formed over the season.
Okay. That works. See, everyone, Brian is the idea guy. He actually came up with this podcast idea like quite a while ago.
Yeah, you've had lots of ideas for podcasts, so I'm just lynching off of it.
That's my thing. I just come up with ideas and then they come and go. So this one's we're actually trying to make stick. So.
Let's hope for the best.
Yep.
So the first episode is episode number 1, of course, and it's Sidekick. Do you have any pointers that you want to bring up about this one first?
Let me pull up my crazy man notes. Well, first, if you don't mind, I'll just do a quick plot description of it.
Yeah, for sure.
So this one was out of my head. The other ones are kind of like super generic plot descriptions that you would find online. But this first one, so Earthworm Jim. Jim is tired of his sidekick Peter Puppy, who has this kind of Hulk-like affliction. He's kind of been interfering with their whole saving the world stuff. So Jim kind of sidelines him and wants to try out, different sidekicks. And of course, this ends up in, being comedic. And then, meanwhile, the Queen, was one of the best names ever, Queen Slug for a Butt, is sending her, I think he's a mercenary or something, Psycrow, another bad guy, to kidnap Princess, what's her name? And that's essentially the plot there.
Yeah, it's when thinking about it, I just think of a classic Mario. Princess is in a different castle.
Yeah, you are exactly right. Although the funny thing is in here is like they show that Princess what's her name doesn't exactly need too much help because she's like super strong.
Yeah, she actually makes the point of having the strength of 100 men. So it makes me wonder, how did she get caught by a crow in a spacesuit?
That's what I was wondering, because you see her in shackles and then she breaks out of those shackles, but then how did she get there in the first place?
Yeah. It doesn't make sense, but I'm totally fine with that.
True. Trying to find logic in this show is not exactly a good idea.
I do like with this episode, though, there's a lot of introduction to the various characters.
Yes, you get a good amount of just all across the board showing everyone that's going to be on this show.
Yeah, and something I want to bring up, though, that I'm curious about. Do you think Psycrow and Jim have the same style of suit, or is Psycrow's suit just a cosmetic one?
That one's interesting thought to me, because I could totally see if they're both wearing some sort of space-looking suit. But the difference being for me that I've noticed is I think you could see Psycrow's like actual arms in his suit versus Jim. He's just literally like a worm's body for the head, and then the rest is all like cyber robot suit.
Yeah. The thing that I'm wondering about Jim's suit, because I don't know if it's in any of the other episodes. It's not in any of the episodes that we watched, other ones at least. Episode 1, his hand shoots off of his body and comes behind Psycrow, taps him on the shoulder, and then punches him in the face, making it so his hand has a mind of its own. So is his whole suit like that? It's not in any of the other episodes, so I don't know if it's a one thing kind of deal, or
it could be just like it could be just like a one-off ability. But that would be interesting if like that's how advanced the suit is. That, I mean, obviously it's an advanced suit when it lands on you and lands on a worm and turns him into this like anthropomorphized being. So why not have every single body part be detachable and think for itself?
Yeah, makes sense. Some of the sidekicks, what did you think of them?
Oh my
little
God.
Test screening there.
I have them listed. I don't know if you listed them.
I have two that really caught my attention.
Okay.
One being Zentor, the apparently the master of the flying toupee,
Yes.
and
Uh
then I don't remember the other guy's name, but it was the hand puppet guy,
oh, so
or the shadow
yeah,
puppet.
Jim was like, I can't believe I get to work with the Shadow, and he's like, actually, I'm a Shadow,
Yes, yes,
and then he fails miserably.
yes. You
Mm,
can't do much when you can just make shadows.
yeah. Uh, so okay, let me. Is it all right if I list off a couple or the
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of them? So I actually
yeah.
went
Go.
back to the episode because I wanted to list them all. So we have a Shadow, Mister Forehead Vein, which was really creepy looking. Um, I for I didn't really I don't remember his name, but there was the guy with the power to turn his eyelids inside out.
I don't
Um,
remember.
yeah, that he was like the last sidekick, and he actually was helpful, which was weird.
Was he the one on the planet of enormous hammers?
No, that was Cabbage Man,
Oh, okay.
who apparently died because he gets smashed, and then you hear Jim say, "Ew, coleslaw."
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got I'm gonna butcher these names because I didn't write them down correctly, but we have the sidekick whose power is whooping cough. I don't know if you
Yes.
remember that.
Whooping Cough Boy, I think it was his official
Y-
name.
Yes. And then one who's kind of just you barely see him, Whoopee Cushion Man.
Okay.
Yeah, because he just gets like I think he falls off a cliff and hits a bunch of like peaks and stuff, and that was it.
Yeah, that would do it. That would do it.
Yeah, so I mean, all these guys are, Jim. Like I said, Jim got tired of Peter Puppy hulking out and then getting in the way, so he goes to a superhero store, and then so he's trying out all these different sidekicks.
When I saw that, all I could think of was a superhero store for like a used car dealership.
Yes, the guy selling them was kind of like giving off that vibe, and
Yeah.
all these are like kind of like dollar store superheroes.
Um, what did you think of the introduction of Evil the Cat?
It was very random. Is he Tim Curry? Is he voiced by Tim Curry?
I didn't actually look that up.
I didn't look it up either, but he sounded a lot like it. And it was kind of jarring because he's like a major. I know he's a major villain, but it's just like it's like this complete side story that's an offshoot of the main plot of the episode,
Mm.
and which I mean it's Evil the cat trying to kill a kid, and that's it.
Yeah, and then the mom wants to go take him to get neutered, and he ends up in a factory in a box.
What was the factory in? Because he like ended up accidentally blowing himself up.
I don't know. Maybe it's just like a TNT store or something. Just I.
Probably. It's
It
like
was just like a
acne.
side story kind of commercial. Because what I've noticed in the other episodes, they had their own little commercial break,
Yeah,
which
they
is actually
do.
a short story, which is it's not bad. It's definitely different for its time. I don't think any other cartoons have done that before.
Yeah, I think they probably just, they thought kids have short attention spans, so let's like break it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, do you think Snot is a tribute to Slimer?
I can see that. Same body form, same color, obviously.
Same
And
kind of vocal skills.
yeah, they don't really talk much either. And I know in like the Ghostbusters show, Slime or like the cartoon show, Slimer became kind of like their sidekick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could see that. Um, I, one thing I wanted to talk about is the intro. The song, and
Yeah.
I like the intro because it pretty much the show's very random. And but at the beginning of every episode, we get the Earthworm Jim song. It completely explains his origin. Talking about the suit falling from the sky and falling on top of a worm, and him becoming a superhero. And then the lyrics pretty like it makes it impossible to forget his name because they reiterate it, Earthworm Jim, and they say it
Yeah.
over and over again. And pretty much, the intro is weird, and it gives you just this taste of like this is what you're getting into, and this is how weird this show is.
Yeah, because at the one point with the guy singing, it almost sounds like he's losing his voice from saying it so much.
Yes, but yeah, they sing it a lot, and actually when watching this show, it ended up getting stuck in my head for a bit.
Yeah, it's just one of those. It's kind of catchy, but in an off way.
Yeah,
But it's unique because it's actual intro that gives you his backstory in what, a matter of 40 seconds.
yeah, I think they do a good job of just summarizing it real quick.
Yeah. Something I thought was really funny though that I want to bring up. Do you remember the scene where Earthworm Jim's listing off the dangerous places that the princess may be?
I is that the, that might be is that in a different episode or is that like episode one?
It's episode 1. It's near the end.
Oh no, I'm not sure. I don't remember that one.
Well, he's listing off various spots where the princess might be because he's trying to find her,
Okay.
and they list Detroit as a spot.
No, no, yeah, no offense to people
No
from
offense
Detroit,
to
but
yeah anyone from there, but I thought it was really hilarious at the time.
that's pretty funny. I mean, I've seen RoboCop. I know that's my experience of Detroit. So,
Yeah, that and if you want to go with the 8 Mile movie, I guess.
oh yeah, that too. Um, Both very dreary.
Yeah. So,
Um,
anything else you want to bring up about episode 1?
no, I actually, well, it ends the way all of these episodes end with a cow falling on someone.
Yeah,
I mean,
that and something they're going to bring up. Peter Puppy brings up in one of the other episodes. Plan B is always to run away like an extra in a Godzilla movie. Just run away screaming.
yeah, yeah, I love that. Like, good reference, and it shows that they're just like running away, and I mean, it's a good plan.
Yeah, if you can't win, might as well just run and save yourself.
All right. Did you want? That's episode one. Did you want to do episode six?
Yeah, we'll do episode 6. Do you remember the title for this one?
This is Upholstered Peril.
Which the episode titles are really interesting.
Yes, I mean, the first one you could kind of guess what it's about, but these other ones are pretty weird.
Yeah, because we're stuck because we're doing the middle episode. So with being 13 episodes this season, we had to pick either 6 or 7. And this is the one that kind of caught my eye more.
Could you give us a like a quick summary?
So Professor Monkey for a head decides to kick Santa out of his little lovely workshop and then creates a device that makes all the furniture try to kill people. Or mind control them, at least.
Yep. It's essentially if you sit down on this furniture, you become this couch potato.
Yeah, I like how at first it starts out as just being that same pattern couch. And then
Yeah.
later on, we see an end table that they make fun of because people don't apparently use end tables that much anymore.
Yeah.
And then it attacks Jim with laser arms.
Yeah, it's like that one's like more sentient and it moves on its own.
Yeah, it's like a droid from Star Wars, pretty much.
Lightsabers too.
Um, the thing I want to bring up though is got the killer goldfish. I forget what his official name is.
Um, Bob.
Bob? Bob the
Yeah.
goldfish?
Yeah, it's so weird. His name's Bob.
What sounds weird to me is his voice, because he sounds to me like a southern preacher.
Yeah, I didn't expect that voice to come from that. Like when you first see the character, you
Yeah.
don't expect that at all. Um, One thing I wanted to point out. So, uh, at one point you see Jim in his kind of water suit,
Yeah.
and when this came out, when the show came out, it was with also a toy line. I remember from my childhood, I had that specific action figure of Jim in his water suit.
Yeah, I remember that one too. I had that one. I think I had a Peter Puppy and I had Psycho.
Those are good figures. I
Yeah,
lost it.
it was a good toy line.
It
It tried.
was.
I think it tried to do what the original TMT toy line tried to do. Because after a while, the original TMNT decided to do weird ones where they had them as like mummies and Frankensteins and hockey players.
Uh, just like all sorts of different variations to sell.
Yeah, that don't have anything to do with the cartoon. Because I'm pretty sure there's
Yeah.
other variants of the Jim character that had nothing to do with the cartoon or the game.
No, not at all.
So,
Um, so we were talking earlier, and you're pointing out a movie reference.
yeah, kids wouldn't understand it. At least I don't
No.
think they would. Um, there's a Pulp Fiction reference in this, the hamburger scene in the car.
Yes. I don't even. Are they actually talking in this cartoon? I don't think they're actually talking about hamburgers. Aren't they talking about like how they say cheese in
Yeah,
France or something?
yeah, it's a scene in Pulp Fiction where they're talking about how French talk about the Big Macs or whatever in their
Yeah.
language. It's got the
Right. Right.
different meaning. Um, but I thought that was really different because they do a character version of them and everything. And as a kid, I would have never picked up on it.
No, you could tell like the guys who were making this. Yeah, they wanted to make a kid show, but then they also wanted to throw in a bunch of stuff in there that like if like the parents were watching with their
Yeah,
kids, and the parents could be like, "Oh, I get that." Also, one thing I wanted to point is so they're talking about like how to say cheese in French. Sorry, and it's like fromage, and it made me just like an offshoot of there's an episode of Dexter's Lab where all he could say is omelette du fromage,
I remember that
and
episode.
yeah, and I was just like thinking that when that came up, I'm like, God, that's why that's I don't really know French words, but that one I know because of that. Um, okay, so I wanted to bring this up. Did you happen to catch the period joke?
No, I think I missed that one.
Oh man, this one like just caught my attention because I was like, oh, I know exactly what they're talking about. There's a part Peter Puppy is, has become a couch potato. He's sitting on the couch just watching TV and eating chips. And they don't show anything. They just show Peter Puppy like watching TV. But you hear the commercial, and it's very quick. The commercial is a girl saying, "Mom, do you ever feel not fresh?" And automatically, I was like, "Oh my god, that's like a commercial for like tampons or something." I was just,
I think maybe I recall it now, but it's not something I jot down. But yeah,
I just, when I heard that, I was like, "Oh man!" Like it was one thing for like movie references, but that was definitely a kind of a adult joke in this kid show.
it's definitely a curveball that you're not expecting.
No.
I also like the
Uh,
introduction of the fan club.
yeah, I didn't get that character's name, but it's cool that Jim's this established superhero and he has a fan club.
The thing with that though is what made me look up the cast because I couldn't find him anywhere. The kid there, he sounds like the voice of the Crypt Keeper cartoon.
Like the actual, like
Yeah, like the
the
actual Crypt Keeper
character of the
herself.
group. Oh,
Because that's what made me look up the cast, and I couldn't find anything about him though. So I'm not sure if it's just unlisted or not. But when looking it up, it says John still does the voice of the cartoon as well. So
oh,
maybe it's
okay.
just an unlisted character. But I think he shows up a fair amount in the season.
Yeah,
So
he's probably doing like miscellaneous vocals and stuff.
yeah. Um, did you also catch that? I'd never seen this in the games or anything, or even Toyline. Earthworm Jim pretty much has his own version of the Bat Cycle.
Yes. It's like that. His main mode of transportation. It looks like a jet engine with handlebars or something.
Well, yeah, there's that, but he's also has an actual motorcycle that he rides off in with his
Oh,
head on the front of it. Because
no
he's got his
idea.
jet bike and then he's got an actual motorcycle with wheels, which I've never seen before.
I think I must have missed that.
It's right near the fan club moment after they get done talking.
Oh, okay. That's funny. Another thing to probably sell as a toy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. They try to throw as much as they can in there.
Did you
Uh,
catch the scene where the beanbag tries to kill Jim? The beanbag chair
yeah. Yeah, and then he pretty much zaps it and like
feeds it to Peter.
yeah, because it's like I think what like refried beans now in a
Yeah.
bowl. Yeah, that was pretty random. Yeah, at that point, like all manner of furniture is just attacking Jim, and Um, uh, I'm sure you caught it. The side story of this one, which is it was more of a commercial, which was like Cy Crow's like anti.
Insurance or whatever.
It was him talking. It was almost as if like a rehab commercial, where it's talking about superheroism and how it's like hurting every supervillains, and so it's like superheroes getting rehab so they suppress their urges to be superheroes.
Yeah.
Yeah, even
Yeah,
even see like this like Clark Kent looking character.
yeah, it's very different. It's unique. I like that they do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's just filler because they can't do a full episode or what it is because they do it in the first episode too with the introduction of Evil the Cat pretty much.
yeah. This would become like I believe just a regular thing, which is interesting because I I'm pretty sure you could fill in enough time for. I believe these episodes are on an average, without commercials, probably like 22 minutes long.
Yeah, I think that's probably the average 20 to 22 minutes.
But yeah, they're just going to break it up. I liked they're making like it was like on two occasions they made green card jokes as far as Santa Claus and his elves.
Yep.
Yeah. And like the first part, like Santa gets evicted, and the guy kicking him out was talking about like, do your elves have green cards?
Yeah.
And then they also mention it like at the end of the episode.
Which is weird that Santa is kind of a big part of this, but yet it's furniture and not toys.
Right? They throw him in there. This kind of Santa gag, but he's not really at all relevant to the plot. He's just like mentioned. Um, but then it's actually the person who's making all this furniture is Professor Monkey for a head, and for some reason he's in a. Was that in fact Santa's like workshop that he was
Yeah, I
in?
believe so. Because
Okay.
Jim shows up at the North Pole
Okay.
and they
Well
see a
then,
little house.
yeah. Well, there's Santa's connection to the plot.
Yeah.
He must have been evicted by the professor.
Did you catch about Professor Monkey for a Head? How he hates fruit carts?
Yes, when he gets on this fully mechanized, weaponized giant recliner couch, and then
Yeah,
he
it's called
starts
the Battle Lounger.
the battle lounger. That actually sounds like a pretty cool name. That it'd be something in a video game.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he's like shooting up. He sees like fruit carts and he's like shooting them up.
Yeah, do you know what he shoots with the Battle Lounger? Did you catch it?
No, what was
It's
it?
it's loose change.
Oh my god, that's pretty brilliant.
The thing though, I listened to it a couple times, and with the fruit cart thing, he mentions the fruit cart killed his. I think they say pa, but I'm not 100% sure.
Hmm.
So I don't know if a fruit cart dropped on a monkey, or if it dropped on a human, or if it's just not audible enough for me to figure out what that last part is. But I'm pretty sure it's paw, or if it's just a monkey paw in general.
That's interesting. Because it's like when you think about his origin, is he a monkey? Does he have a monkey for a head because of an experiment gone wrong, or because of like parenting?
Yeah, is he more monkey? Is he more human? Is it the human taking over the monkey, or
See, his character is an interesting dynamic because he's got the monkey's body, and but the monkey is alive, and it obviously has like a personality of its own because he's like talking to it from time to time.
yeah? Because
So,
in the last episode we watched, we'll bring it up a little bit more in detail. He has to tell the monkey a bedtime story.
yes, he does. Um, but I will say, very, very for me, one of the most interesting character designs. Just like the idea of the scientist and a whole monkey's body on his head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know the time period, but it makes me think of there was a VHS movie I used to watch, Dr. Monroe's Island,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
where
remember
he's
that.
mutating the humans with the animals. I don't know
Yes.
if that's a tribute to that. I don't know the time period of when each one came out.
It could be. It's probably I'm
Right.
sure there's a reference there. Do you remember how they defeated him?
No, I don't.
So at the end, Jim and Peter, they've been getting chased, and they also, they do the Plan B thing, run. They run
Yeah.
from the battle lounger like it's Godzilla, and they're kind of like dead end because it's either get killed by the professor or jump into the world's biggest cesspool, which is weird that that was there.
Yeah.
And so he's Jim is literally about to just like jump in when he gets an idea, and he pulls out his vehicle, the jet bike or whatever it is, and he tosses it, and it hits the recliner lever,
Oh yeah,
which
the eject
launches.
button.
Yeah, the eject button, and it launches the professor, and there you go. The day is saved.
Yeah, I just needed a little refreshing. And then at the end, Santa comes back.
Yes, he does, because he ends up being like Jim's neighbor or something.
Yeah, he moves into the house beside Jim for whatever reason, and then Jim makes a couple of jokes about him. I think there was another green card joke probably there.
Oh yeah,
Could be
probably.
wrong though.
Uh, Plot hole for me. Yeah, they stopped like the professor from killing them. They knocked him out of his battle lounger. But was that like the thing that automatically stops all the sentient furniture and the couch potato stuff? Did that just instantly stop?
Yeah, there's no more details on it at all.
It's just like
Because
wrapped up in a nice bow.
was it just the lounger that controlled everything? Was it something in the workshop? Was it a device? There's
I
never really anything said about it.
No, it's just one of those classic. Oh, we defeated the bad guy. Everything's wrapped up, and that's it.
Yeah. Personally, I think that's the more entertaining episode of the three that we watched.
Yes, it was. It
Um,
was a good episode.
do you have any other points that you want to mention about that one?
No, I mean at the end they have this random musical number where Peter Puppy's playing guitar, and the president of Jim's fan club's there, and there's like dancing, and then and then a cow falls on Jim. So
Yeah, pretty typical ending. So so the last episode we watched is episode 13, the anti-fish.
yes,
You want to give it a little rundown on this one?
yes. Okay, so Jim and one of his arch enemies, one of his many arch enemies, Bob the fish, they have to join forces to save the great worm spirit from being consumed by its arch enemy, the anti-fish. I'll go on to say that this episode is absolutely all over the place. Like
Yeah,
it,
it kind of takes you out of it.
it feels like the writers had like a million ideas of like a million disjointed ideas, and they just put them all together.
Yeah, it's kind of like they wanted to put everything in the bucket because they weren't sure if they were going to get a second season or not.
Actually, oh man, I even think about that. That makes sense because this show is so weird that it is one of those shows that like no, it's probably not going to be greenlit for a second season, and this is it. And they had a bunch of ideas left over, and they just stuck them all together.
Yeah, because back then it would be a lot longer of a wait to see if you get greenlit for another season.
Yeah, definitely.
The first thing I want to bring up about this, though, is the cartoon logic in it. So you have Bob the goldfish in a fishbowl who's
Right.
underwater,
Yep.
but yet he's swimming in the fishbowl to stay alive. But he's already underwater because they're in the ocean trying to get the fish awoken.
Oh my god. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's like right at the beginning, and that doesn't make sense.
Why not just have him swim on his own?
Yeah, true. Also, no real explanation of like his henchman, which I believe is this big muscular cat.
Yeah, so a cat being underwater in the ocean is also another thing, but we'll just avoid that one.
Yeah, a lot of these enemies or like these bad guys are completely unexplained, and they're just there. They're just bad.
I did
Uh,
like with this episode, though, he might be in the other episodes that we didn't watch. We get the introduction of Evil Jim.
yes, real quick, he's at the very beginning. Jim, Peter, and Princess what's her name are dealing with evil Jim, and then all of a sudden, well, evil Jim is pretty much just Jim, but he's like, I think he's green.
Yeah, he's I think he's like Snot, but he actually makes the comment that they're brothers, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if
Voiced
he's
by the
just a
same
clone
guy.
or
He's probably like some sort of clone, unexplained clone. Maybe it was like in the other episodes. I wouldn't be surprised if they just didn't explain it at all.
yeah. Something that's funny about that though is Jim and Peter Puppy just leave the fight with Evil Jim and they leave the princess behind,
Yes, she literally already has this situation going on, and they're just like, "Oh, this other thing's happening. Let's go."
which makes you wonder like why do they keep trying to rescue her when clearly they one don't care and two
Yeah,
she's smarter and stronger than both of them probably.
exactly. I wanted to ask you: do you think the whole Jim Evil Jim thing is a reference to like Evil Dead? You know, they have like Evil Ash.
Yeah, I was wondering that as well because Earthworm Jim's catchphrase is groovy.
Yeah, so it'd have to be. It's
It's got to
pretty.
be tied in because the Pulp Fiction reference too. I'm sure there's other movie references there that we didn't watch.
Yeah, these creators obviously love movies. So, I mean, like I said, this episode is all over the place. Jim. Well, okay, so we said they're dealing with Evil Jim, and then Jim randomly gets a call from I think it's like the Great like Trout. It's some other
Yeah,
giant fish calls him telling him about Bob's plot, and then Jim goes to stop Bob, but then you find out that Bob can't even wake up the anti-fish, and then Jim is actually the one who wakes up the anti-fish.
yeah. The thing too with that phone call, one, the trout makes it on the payphone. Then time runs out, and the phone operator asks for another 25 cents, and the trout pretty says, "No, I'm not doing that."
Oh yeah, and then the Trout was literally about to tell Jim exactly like the way to stop him is, and then the phone call gets cut off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did we want to mention about? I guess it would be the midway episode break, the little
Oh yeah.
bedtime story.
Yeah. Do you want to take this one?
So it's pretty much Little Red Riding Hood story, but it's called Red Monkey Hood. Um, it's just Professor Monkey for a head telling the monkey tale of Little Red Riding Hood, but substituting Riding Hood for the monkey and Jim being the big bad werewolf worm, I guess.
Yes. The main thing that I love about this, so obviously the protagonist is Professor Monkey for a head, and he's actually playing two characters. The monkey body is Riding Hood, but you could also see that his like the professor's body is stuffed into the hood,
Hmm.
and then later on they switch to the professor's body being the woodsman, and and stuffed in his like woodsman beanie is the monkey body. So they kind of like they switch back and forth near the end.
Yeah, I thought it was. I think honestly, I think that's next to meeting Evil Jim is probably the best part of the episode.
Yeah. It's such like a twisted take on, and of course it's a bad guy telling the story, and so Jim looks evil and has like these like sharp fangs and everything.
And seeing that the big fish gets awoken, um, what's with the manhole that takes him back to the dinosaur age?
Okay, I actually had to rewatch this to understand what was going on. The plot in this. Okay, so the anti-fish wants to eat the great worm spirit. The great worm spirit is apparently the holder of the fabric of the universe. So if the anti-fish eats it, it'll completely destroy the universe. Everything will be gone. Um, which is why Bob teams up with Jim because he says, "Well, if there's no universe, there's nothing for me to conquer." The great worm spirit is located at the dawn of time. So Jim or Bob's ship, which is also a giant fish shaped spaceship, has the time travel ability. So in this show, the wormholes through time are represented by an actual sewer. So when they go through a wormhole, they have to open up a manhole cover, and they're literally going through like the sewer of time, and all these different manholes are entrances and exits through different points in time. Um, I know it's
It's
ridiculous and crazy.
if you don't pay attention for a second, you lose track of everything.
Yeah, literally. You imagine being a little kid and watching that episode and like trying to follow along with that?
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to, I don't think.
No, not at all. And so they have this idea of okay, we're gonna stop the anti-fish, but because he's also going through the sewer of time, and so our best bet is to knock him through a random time hole and lock him there, so he'll be stuck in that timeline, which was the prehistoric dinosaur age. And they mess up, they miss, and they get themselves stuck in the dinosaur age.
Yeah, and to get out of there though, because we're in the dinosaur age, then the only way to get out is to eat haggis at a restaurant.
Yes, I had to. I was writing this stuff down because, yeah, they had to. The only way to escape was to eat from the Dawn of Time restaurant, and yeah, like you said, haggis.
Just
Um,
the weirdest options I could ever imagine.
like, like why? Like why any of this? Oh yeah, and then also they don't have money to pay for the dinner that they didn't even want to eat.
Yeah.
First, oh, I'm sorry, timeout. But why is eating haggis going to help you get to the right to escape a timeline?
I like when they're doing the dishes and they get enough money saved up. And Jim's like, no, we got to save up a little bit more so we can tip them.
Yeah, he's like, I know you're a bad guy, but you're not about to leave a restaurant without tipping the waiter.
And then they get out and he wants to tip the valet as well. And
Oh
Bob just
yeah,
yells at him.
he's like, no, you are not going to. I mean, they're
Really,
ammunition.
the only last thing I want to mention about this episode, because I find it's the weakest one that we watched,
Yeah.
um, the worm spirit is voiced by someone trying to do Christopher Walken.
Yes, I remember that. I was like, oh my god, they're doing Christopher Walken. Yep.
I don't know, like you said, I find this episode could have been like 4 different episodes. It's
Yeah,
just so mashed together.
it's its main problem is it's just really hard to follow. It's not a simple plot at all. To spoil the ending, and who really cares about spoilers at this point? The only solution is they power up Jim's suit to kind of do a kamikaze move to get eaten by the anti-fish, and he explodes. And then the great worm spirit is so thankful and resurrects Jim. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. And then Bob wants to attack Jim after he comes back to life, and forgets that his ship has no power.
Yeah, because all the power went to Jim's suit.
And then Jim just flies away.
Yep. Oh, and then they they get back home and they're just relaxing, and then they realize, oh my god, we forgot Princess what's her name with Evil Jim.
Yeah, and are they on a date or what was it again?
He was like reading her poetry, and she was like really into it. So they're pretty much on a date.
Yeah.
She was flirting.
So with that being said, with all the episodes that we did watch, we might do season 2 at some point. It won't be the next episode by far. But would you recommend this, or would you tell people to stay away from it as a whole from what we've seen?
Okay, I would say so this is WB, like back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Warner Brothers Saturday morning cartoons. I would say yes. I would, if anything, I would definitely give the first episode a try because it's the easiest one to find online. And I like the show. It's got good voice talent, crazy ideas, and if you like the video game, then yeah, definitely try it out. Would you recommend it?
For everything that it's got a wide variety of characters that are just bonkers. I would definitely recommend it. I'm assuming not all the episodes are going to be great. That's going to be hit or miss with any show, really.
Yeah.
But out of the 3 that I did watch, I enjoyed 2 of them a lot, and the third one's it's not horrible, but it's not great by any means.
No, not at all. It's it's more of a nostalgia piece, and some of the references definitely show their age, especially like
Yeah.
the Pulp Fiction reference and everything. Well, I think that's Earthworm Jim season 1.
Yeah, it is. Is there anything you want to plug before we leave?
No, if you want, you follow me on Twitter and recommend any shows that we should talk about. I'm Virtual Rob 88.
Sounds good. And I'm sure we'll leave all the links and stuff in the show notes below and whatnot. So if anyone wants to follow me, they can follow me on Mixer, Typhonstein, or follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just type in Typhonstein. I'm sure I'll come up.
Yes, follow this guy. Amazing art, and he's growing. Be there at the beginning. He's exploding on the internet.
You're too kind. Too kind.
Well, oh my God, we did it. Episode 1.
Episode 1 in the book. Now we just got to figure out what we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, true. I'm sure it won't be hard. There are like endless possibilities.
So many options. But
Yeah.
if anyone has any options, definitely leave a comment, send us a message, and we'll pick a good one.
Oh yeah, definitely. Do the thinking for us.
Please, please do. It makes it easier. We're old men. We can't do all the thinking. We have daughters to take care of.
All right. Well, I think that's it for episode 1. I'm Rob,
I'm Brian.
and this has been the Nostalgic Dads. We will see you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.